guys, you are listening to Let's Be Rational with me, Rashi. I know it's been a while since I did a podcast, and things have not been the same. We are living a new normal. We're confined to our homes, and it has almost forced us to think of like new ways of living, and in fact, like going inwards and trying to understand like what nature is trying to do, and just have some more deeper conversations. So I thought this was the perfect opportunity to speak to my friend Catalina Guerrero Torres, who is a self-love writer and coach. And we have done a podcast earlier, and I thought I wanted to bring her again to my podcast, because I think we can talk a lot about self-love and self-care in this moment in time, because I think it's very important. Because most of us, we are used to just going to work, and we really do not find time to actually dig deeper. And I think this quarantine time, this COVID-19 situation has given us an opportunity to sort of actually reflect on how we have been leading our lives and how we can bring meaning. So Catalina is a dear friend of mine who's a self-love writer and coach. She has had a growing number of clients who have sought her help for being able to love and accept themselves completely. She also does a lot of healing work. She has an incredible website by the name of The Walrus in the Room, which gives you an amazing insight and information on mindset, self-care, and conscious living. She also did a 30-day cake project last year, which was basically 30 days of self-love, which gave you practical exercises and tools to understand and learn what self-love is. And it personally helped me a lot in just finding my true beliefs and intentions, and just brought a certain love more into my life. And Catalina is extremely driven by personal growth, and I think that's what makes us such good friends, because we are driven by the same purpose. Hi Catalina. Anyways, I didn't say hi to you.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm here at home working just like anyone else, and I'm a huge introvert, so it hasn't been that much of a change for me. I've been working from home for a while, and like I was working hospitality and running my business as a side hustle, and I was the kind of person that would just go to work and then go back home to keep on working. So I'm kind of like a homey person, so this is like my normal. But talking to a lot of my clients and to my community, my tribe on Instagram and on Facebook, a lot of people are struggling, and a lot of people are finding really challenging to be on their own company. So I feel like it's my opportunity to step up and teach, how I do it, how I manage my own company. I actually really quite enjoy being alone with my thoughts, and it's a really good time for everybody to learn how to be with themselves.
Let's get going with this topic of quarantine. So personally, how are you dealing with this whole isolation period, and how has it affected you?
Okay, isolation itself has not been a problem at all. I'm not sure if it recorded before when I said that I am like a great introvert. Like my lifestyle is a lot at home.
Yeah.
So actually my dream job is to work from home, and that's kind of like what first got me into personal development, because I was really looking to become a travel writer. I enjoy traveling, but as I'm traveling, I also like my own space. So I really wanted to become a travel writer. And in that quest, I found my true passion, which was learning how to love myself. So I've always been kind of like my own person, and I've enjoyed my own company. So isolation is not a problem, but it has been a lot of problem a big problem for my current client and my current community.
Yeah.
I have a community on Facebook called the Self Love Chicas, and I've been connecting with a lot of them at this time, and many of them are struggling with isolation, with not being able to get out from their homes, with just not being able to go physically to their workspaces. It has been like such a huge change for them. So yeah, it's a problem, and we can address it. That's the fun part, that it has solutions.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Personally, I feel like I have been struggling a lot with just having like a routine. And I do some days like plan a few tasks that I will do in a day, and I write them down. One day I'm motivated, and then the next day I just get too lazy, or just, it's just difficult to keep a track of time. And I slip back to my old habits of just like, just, just Netflix and chill. And yeah, so what I'm finding a bit difficult is to just have a routine. um do you like have sort of any routine that you're sticking by, or do you have like any tips that people can sort of really incorporate in this sort of quarantine time?
So I'm going to give you, I've been thinking about this question a lot because I have received it a lot. And I'll give you a personal development answer.
Yeah.
Many people try to find motivation from an external source, right? From the goals, from the achieving, the attaining.
Yeah.
And that's when we get most things wrong, because we should start from our own perspective, right? Which is our environment. So there's this model from the Coaching Institute where I study, called the ESIP model. And it tells you that you have to start with your environment and your structure. No, what's the S for?
You can Google.
No, I'm so bad with names. So your environment is your missions, your vision, your values, everything that has to do with your inner world, with
Yeah.
your own mindset around things. So
Yeah.
if you start saying, I'm going to stay motivated because I need to do 10 burpees and 10K running every morning, then you're going to the implementation, which is
Yeah.
the I.
Yeah.
Yeah, S is the structure. S is the structure. But you need to start with the E, which is the environment. So you need to start with why you need to do it. So not with the what, but with the why.
Yeah,
Right?
true.
Everybody's like, I need to exercise, I need to read a book daily, I need to be productive, I need to do this and that and achieve. And that is what we got wrong. We don't
Yeah.
have to achieve. We need to
Yeah.
start with the how do I want to feel? What exactly is that? And why is it important? Right? So, for example, with the exercise, you say, I need to exercise not because social media says so, or because, everybody says be productive. Why
Yeah.
do I need to exercise? Because it gives me happiness, because it makes my body feel happier. So you start with the reason why you need to do it, right?
Yeah.
Coming from an environment place. From an environment is everything that you think about, your mindset around something.
Yeah.
Right? And that is the best way. So if you say, I need to be productive, then ask yourself, why? Why do I need to be productive? Do you really need to be productive? Or is there something else you need to do? Do you need to be conscious, or you need to be organized? You give yourself the word or the attribute that you need to be. Don't allow anyone else to tell you what is it that you need to be, because then you're not going to stay motivated. Or the
Yeah.
opposite, you're going to say, why should I bother?
That is so true, because yeah, I think you're very spot on when you said when we take up too many tasks, and just because of a lot of influence, especially social media, a lot of people are exercising, a lot of people are reading, a lot of people are being really, really productive. And that sort of gives you sort of, like maybe a spurt of motivation, like in the moment, like, yes, you got time, you can do all these things. And then you take up on too much, and then you just feel a bit bad when you are not able to accomplish those things. And I think
Exactly.
I fell into that trap myself. I remember, like, just I think 2 weeks before, when I knew that we will be in these isolation times and we will have a lot of time in hand, I literally like wrote down the list of things that I wanted to do. It was a lot, trust me. It was like, oh, I want to finish 30 books,
Mm.
I want to finish 10 episodes in the month of April for my podcast. I will make sure that I do Zoom calls or calls every day with 2 people. Like, I had so many things. And I will exercise. This is a perfect time. I'm going to exercise every day, even though before this time I would exercise like 4 times a week, 4 to 5 maximum. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to do it. This is the time that and then obviously I couldn't keep up, like, at all. Like, I haven't even finished one book. I haven't even finished recording one episode. So, can you hear me now?
Wait, is it better now?
Yeah.
Cool.
I
This is the problem of having a home office. Everybody starts to study everywhere, and
yeah.
that's just it's very valuable because you need to adapt to
Yeah. So I'm
what
like
is
trying,
around you.
that's what I realized, that, I need to break down the things that I need to prioritize. Just because I got a lot of time doesn't mean that I have to do everything at the same time and feel bad
No,
about myself that I'm not able to accomplish all these things. So yeah, I've literally like laid off a few tasks, and I'm like, okay, I'm just going to focus on 2 things at a time and then move on from there. And I think
exactly. I've
I'll
seen this phrase around saying you need to be productive. If you're not productive, then you're just full of excuses. Which, yes, it is. It has some hint of truth,
yeah.
but also the self-loving way to approach it would be to honor where you are at the moment
Hmm.
and depart from there, right? If you are not on a space when you can be 100% productive and exercise and read books and create a side hustle and upskill, but you are in a place where you can just commit to a daily yoga practice because that is just where you are, then it's completely okay. The point is, don't get caught in the expectations of the outside world. Focus on how is your inner world and how can you improve your own inner world at your own pace.
Yeah. Here I would just like to give a shout out to um Ronak Kadia 95 on Instagram. He asks, what is your motivation hack? And I mean, how do you keep track of your goals flexibly? I think that's what he means. I mean, how to keep track of your goals. Um, I think you pretty much answered that, like, motivation has to come from you and not be externally motivated. Is
Exactly,
there,
to root in your why. why
yeah,
why should I do that? And that is your motivation.
yeah. So would you call it a motivation hack? Because if he's asking what is your
Definitely.
motivation hack, yeah, okay,
The motivation, let's call it rooting in your why. There's a Simon Sinek's book, Always Start with Why. I always refer to it because it's the most powerful thing that I learned
yeah,
starting my own business. And it's nobody will buy from you if you don't know why you are doing it. Same with you. You're not going to buy your ideas if you don't know why you're doing them. So if
yeah,
someone says you should start a side hustle, right, which is
yes,
something I've seen many people saying, then you ask yourself, why would I do that?
yeah,
If that answers to your life path and to your lifelong goals, go
yeah,
for it. Yes, great time to do it. But don't do it because you just saw it on an Instagram post. Do it because it answers to your why.
yeah, true. Yeah, that's so true. I'll take up another question by Anhad 23 on from Instagram, and he asks how to cut off the sleeping time, which sometimes is a problem, I know.
Yeah,
If you especially don't have, if you're not working from home, or even if you are and you have that flexible time, it's sometimes difficult to feel motivated to get up and go to bed at a regular or routinely.
yeah.
So
You know what is something that I do? Like a great day starts when you plan it the night before. And it always helps me get out of bed if I have something exciting to do in the morning. That usually, for me, it's usually food. So if I
yeah.
know, like the night before, I tell myself, I'm going to make poached eggs with avocado, right? So that's
Mm.
my motivation. And I usually wake up around 6, 7 a.m. I do some yoga, meditation, and then I make my breakfast. And that is like my motivation because it excites me. It excites me to cook and to eat.
Mm.
Find something that you get excited about that gets you out of bed,
Mm. Yeah.
even at home.
Yeah,
Yeah.
true. Yeah, amazing insights, Catalina. Um, yeah, and I feel like it's also important that we understand that we don't have to be that hard on ourselves anyway. Like, even if we are not
Never.
able to do something, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's just, not taking that stress, not taking that pressure, because these are unprecedented times. Something like this has never happened. And
Yes.
it's okay to feel a bit anxious, it's okay to feel a bit stressed, but also trying to calm yourself and also trying to understand that it's okay that if you
Yeah.
didn't do any work for 3 days or 4 days, just understand that and try to incorporate a few daily habits just one by one, and try to grow from there or go from there.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's okay.
This
um
is this is the time to cultivate self-compassion and
yeah,
uh, self-kindness. As I said before, you need to validate your emotions. If you're feeling depressed, acknowledge that you're feeling depressed
yeah.
and see how can I get myself out. I taught this little technique on my Instagram on how to raise your frequency, um, which is, we can share it in the podcast notes whenever you can. This frequency chart, vibrational frequency chart, that tells you where emotionally you are sitting, and then how you can raise your frequency one, like 20, 25. I don't know what's the frequency thingy.
That's fine. Some
I'm not
frequency, yeah.
savvy. Like how can you get yourself up in the scale of emotions, right? So if you're feeling worried and anxious,
Yeah,
then one step higher is feeling desire.
yeah,
So how can you make yourself feel desire? Right after desire, there's anger. So how can you go from desire to feeling anger?
yeah.
After anger, there's apathy. And after apathy, there's courage.
Mm,
So if you go up the ladder, always with self compassion and validating your emotions,
yeah,
you are going to be able to go up the ladder until a place of complete love and positivity,
mm,
right? But it takes time and it takes your own journey. It's a self paced journey that you need to do, but you need to do it at your own pace.
yeah, true. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I had one more question, and let's be real, Catalina. Like, there will be a lot of us who are listening, or in the world, who have sort of lost their jobs. They're unemployed. I'm
Mm-hmm.
one of them. I haven't lost my job, but I can't work. So
Yeah.
I am stressing about money and my finances,
Yes.
for the near future. We don't know how long this quarantine is going to last. It might
Yes.
last 6 months. Some people are saying the whole year. There's a lot of uncertainty, and a lot of people, they're already dealing with anxiety, and they have um, depression, or in some level of form. They probably have it like very minimally, but maybe during these times it might just grow or exacerbate. um,
Mm-hmm.
so how do you think one can balance, like, just a few if you can give like a bit of insight, or just how to have that balance, and if at what point should someone seek sort of actually medical help, even if, if things get really worse, like what, like how to go about the situation.
Okay. With medical help, I'm not I'm not a medical practitioner. Let's start from there. I
Yeah.
am a personal development coach. So I'll tell you from my perspective, always, like, if my approach doesn't serve you, probably
Mm.
it is time to contact someone who is on the medical sphere, who is a psychiatrist or a psychologist. But this is how it works. So absolutely, there's a lot of anxiety and fear and worry that is naturally gonna affect many people. I have also felt anxiety and worry. As I said, I was working in hospitality, and coaching is my side hustle.
Yeah.
So what I say is, first, you need to validate your emotions, which is where most people get it wrong, because they say, how is going to feel my emotions going to serve me? And this is what I say. Your emotion is simply a human reaction to a stimulus. The stimulus being COVID-19, quarantine, being loss of jobs. It's a huge stimulus. It is just natural that you feel very intense emotions. You need to feel them. You can't push them away. How do you push emotions away? By trying to distract yourself, by not sitting with them, by trying to keep on with your life normally. Okay, so whenever you're feeling the emotion, sit it out, sit with it, and breathe through it. So what works really well, so this is just step one, validate the emotion. You need to become emotionally literate. What does that mean? You need to be able to name what is it that you're feeling. Are you feeling frustration, worry, anger, anxiety, preoccupation? They are all very similar, but they're all different emotions. So sit with the emotion, feel it, and let it go through you. Emotions are like waves, and some are bigger than others. The smaller waves, they're just easy to manage, just like someone pushed me in my way to work, or someone, I don't know, something little. What is something little? Someone ordered their coffee before me, those are little waves.
Yeah.
COVID-19 is sending us 2-3 meter waves of emotions.
Yeah.
So it's useless to try to stop these waves with your hands.
Yeah.
Don't do it. What do you do when you face a huge wave? You let it take you, or you ride it, right? You ride with it.
Yeah.
So let it go, let it flow through you. Sit with the emotion and let it flow. Once the wave has taken you, it goes away, right? It goes back to the ocean.
Yeah.
But what most people are doing are to try to control the wave with their hands, and it's pointless. So
Yeah.
that's the first one, where most people got it already wrong. Feel the emotion. Second, if you ride the emotion, if you sit with it, it will go away, because that's how emotions work. Second step, don't put any meaning to what's happening, right? Don't let it make wrong stories in your head about, I'm not good enough, I'm not, the word, only essential workers, I am not essential, I am not valuable for society. No, don't put any meaning to this. This is just something that almost all society is experiencing. So humans are meaning making machines. So
Yeah.
don't put any meaning to it. Step 3, take it one day at a time. So what does this mean? Stay in the present moment. You are not homeless yet. You are not dying of hunger. You are not, and this is all these scenarios that your mind is gonna give you. I'm gonna go. We go in that rabbit hole of anxiety. I'm not gonna be able to pay anything. I'm gonna be homeless. I'm not gonna have food. Oh my god, I'm gonna be a disgrace for my family. I'm gonna die alone.
Yeah.
These are ego stories of the future, right? It's causing even more anxiety. Stay in the present moment. How do we stay in the present moment? We breathe, we feel our body, and we practice mindfulness. What is surrounding me right now? Okay, I'm under a roof. I just had lunch. I still have $500 savings in my bank account. That's step 4, mindfulness, staying in the present moment. The next step is do what is under your control.
Mm.
So don't focus on what is not under your control. 5G, not under your control. ID 2020, not under your control.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theories, they're not under your control.
Yeah.
COVID-19 and a thousand new infected,
Yeah.
not under your control. You can't control it, so don't focus on it. Focus on what is under your control. What can I do for myself to help myself right now? Okay, I could look for a job. I could apply for any of the reliefs that are being offered. I could continue to talk to my employee. I could look for an online job.
Yeah.
What can I sell? How can I contribute at this moment that would bring me some income? You know? So those were
Yeah.
the 5 steps. And again, I'm very structured because I've given this to most of my clients that have asked me for this answer. And
Yeah.
also to, my family and friends that are experiencing, and myself. So let me see if I remember the steps. Sit with the emotion, let it flow.
Yeah.
Don't put any meaning to anything. Stay in the present moment.
Yeah.
Do what is under your control.
Yeah.
That was a long answer, but it was
No,
just,
amazing. I think that's what people need, like, a few steps, and it's like a good guide into understanding what things we can do, what are in our control, to just keep sane and just not not be too stressed about this whole situation and not feel too bogged down. And I also
yeah,
feel like one thing was like about practicing gratitude. I think we should be also try to bring our mind to the fact that we are healthy enough to, people who are listening in, you have the resources to do that. You have a roof on your head. You have food. Like, we are so lucky to, have such, they're not small or big issues, but you know what I mean? Like, there's so many people out there who do not even have that opportunity to even express themselves. They're
yes,
dealing with medical health, their health issues, or they can't even seek medical help. So, just trying to
yeah,
understand, be grateful for what we have, and make the most of it. I think it's very
absolutely. Gratitude is a mindfulness practice because it brings you
yeah,
to the present moment.
yeah,
So any mindfulness practice that you could get your hands on right now, breath work, mindfulness, gratitude, yoga, meditation, journaling, coloring, painting, dancing,
yeah,
um, even sex, exploring your body, and if you can with someone else. Those are all practices that bring you to the present moment. So yeah, any mindfulness practice that you can get your hands off,
yeah.
off.
Before we wrap up, I'll just take one question. Um, is So Anmol Agrawal on Facebook asked, okay, let me read it. Any tips for those having to celebrate quarantine birthday by themselves? Today is his. Happy birthday, Anmol.
Oh,
Podcast will be
happy
released a bit later,
birthday.
but yeah, so today is, what date is today? Yeah, 14th April. So yeah, happy birthday to you.
Happy
So
birthday.
Yeah. Do you have any tips for people who are celebrating birthdays on their own, not feel too, sad or bad about the situation?
Reach out to the community and like reach out to your friends and don't make any meaning out of it again. It's,
Yeah.
don't make it don't let it make you feel like you're not good enough or not valuable, because you are. Everybody is. And yeah, just reach out to the community and have a Zoom party.
Yeah, exactly, right. I think this
Yeah,
video conferencing and these video chats are, I think, amazing because this has
yeah,
given me an opportunity to talk to people or, who I haven't spoken in like years and like, especially my childhood friends, like we would just text and, but this has actually made us even, yearn to talk to each other. And that
yes,
has been amazing. And
exactly.
it's a good way to keep connected with everyone in your in your circle. But
Yes.
thanks Catalina, this was
Thank
amazing.
you.
So before
Yeah,
yeah,
pleasure.
any last thoughts or anything that you wanted to say?
Yes, so I'm actually working right now on group program
Okay.
to learn self-love skills or self-love habits.
Yeah.
Right now in quarantine, as because I've seen there's a lot of need for mental health practices and getting to connect with ourselves, especially now. The world is changing and
Yeah.
it will never be the same. I am 100% sure of that. We
Yeah.
will never go back to normal. The world needs more aligned people with like aligned people that are aligned with their soul's path and with themselves.
Mm.
So make sure you stay tuned on my Instagram, on my website, The Wolves in the Room. And yeah, that was my invitation.
Okay, so feel free to reach out to Catalina if you have any queries. She can really help you out. I'll link everything on her website. She's on Instagram, and I think you go by Kata the Walrus on Instagram.
Yes, yes, Kata.the and my blog, my website is thewalrusintheroom.com.
Room. And if it's too much of a tongue twister, I'll put it down below. And yeah, thanks, Catalina, for doing this. I think it's
Thank you.
important to, yeah, I think it's important to have these conversations and just, let people know that we are in this together. We can do this. And
We're
let,
all in this
yeah, and let's
together.
just make the most of it, whatever we got.
Yeah. Yes.
And before wrapping up, I just want to say that if you haven't followed or subscribed to my podcast, please do so because I see a lot of listeners, but I think my mom was saying the other day that she listens to my podcast, but she hasn't followed it. I think it's a general thing. People do just don't follow or anything; they listen to it. So
They
I
just
would
first, yeah.
yeah, I would really urge you to just, click on that follow button on Spotify or iTunes. Um, my podcast is on both those places. And just if you can leave a review, that would be great too on Apple, on iTunes. And yeah, you can find me by just let's be rational with RASHIONAL. And before we wrap up, just one thing. I just wanted to say that I will try my best to keep this podcast on, do more episodes, and I have got some really interesting topics that I'll be covering and discussing. So the next one would be a monologue that I've been preparing and writing, and that will be about embracing your sexuality and owning it. Because I think since I've started pole dancing and stuff, a lot of people have asked me, a lot of girls have asked me, like, how do you find the courage to do pole dancing? And I'm like, it's not tough for me because for me, my empowerment is so important. And I feel like every woman should feel empowered and embrace her sexuality and just express herself the way she wants and not feel judged or have any expectation or just have confidence in themselves to be able to express the way they want to. So I think, yeah, the next episode is going to be interesting about embracing and owning your sexuality. So look for.
I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, I hope you guys will like it. It will be
Yeah.
out by the end of the week. But yeah, thank you so much, Catalina. It was lovely talking to
Awesome.
you.
It's lovely talking to you.
Let me see if it's recording. But yeah,
Okay,
because I
cool.
wasn't sure if I pressed record in the beginning.
I think the lighting is gonna be different though.
That's okay. It's fine. It's just the first. I'll adapt. I'll you know, once you do it, you understand like how to do things better.
Yeah.
Give me a TikTok dance
I think that.
or a blooper.
You know, we should do one. Have you seen one of those that you throw something and then the other one grabs it?
Oh yes, I want to do that as well.
We should do it. We should totally do it. Yeah, it's fine. Okay, how do you do it? I think you just record a clip and then I'll send you the clip. Yeah, that's what you create a clip, I'll create a clip, and then we combine those two. That's it. You just yeah. Okay. But then it has to be like cut. You me, because that's half minute. Like if throw something, someone else fix it, then we throw it again, then someone else fix it. But then because it's so fast, then you would have to go back and forth. I think you just have to create the clips and combine it. We can even advertise the podcast like that. Like what can we send? Like what do we have? Yeah, we can do something like that. I have a microphone, otherwise I would do it. Like you have a microphone, so the microphone would give it. Yeah, we can do anything, and I'll turn it into a microphone. I'll just catch like you to a towel, and I'll catch. Ah, yeah, like I can pass it on to you, and you pass it on to.
That like I transform it into something. That's a good idea. Okay, let's do it.
Yeah.
Cool.